The Wizard and the 10 Days of Darkness. The Wizard and the 10 Days of Darkness. The wizard sat aboard his comfortable sailboat with the first cup of coffee of the morning warming his hands. The boat rested quietly against the dock. The water was nearly still, disturbed only by a few silver ripples and the occasional movement of a fish beneath the surface. The sails were furled. A soft morning breeze carried the smell of water, wood, rope, and distant trees. It was Friday. For the first time in many days, the wizard felt almost cheerful. Not entirely carefree. A wizard with as many responsibilities as he had was rarely carefree. But lighter. The court hearing had taken place the day before. The matter involving his home had not been resolved, but there had been a continuance. That meant a few days in which he did not have to spend every waking hour preparing documents, reviewing arguments, organizing evidence, or wondering what the next procedural step might be. Now he would wait for the court's findings to arrive through the mail. The dispute was still alive. The uncertainty remained. But for the moment, the legal storm had moved a little farther out to sea. The wizard took a long sip of coffee and sighed. Perhaps, he said to the empty deck, the universe has granted me a temporary recess. A gull standing on a nearby piling looked at him skeptically. I said temporary, the wizard told it. The gull seemed satisfied. As he watched the sunrise, the wizard began thinking about one of the many strange ideas circulating through the internet. The 10 Days of Darkness. Sometimes it was called the 3 Days of Darkness. Sometimes it involved electricity. Sometimes telecommunications. Sometimes a cosmic cloud. Sometimes a photon belt. Sometimes a great awakening. Sometimes a government operation. Sometimes an invisible celestial event in which the sun would somehow disappear, dim, blink, change color, or become temporarily unavailable for comment. The wizard had read many versions. One theory predicted that the power grid would fail. Another said the internet would vanish. Another claimed satellites would stop working. Another insisted humanity would pass through a strange region of space and receive new spiritual frequencies. Still another warned that everyone should remain indoors, close the curtains, light blessed candles, avoid looking outside, and under no circumstances answer the door if something knocked. The wizard stirred his coffee. That last part, he said, sounds less like cosmic prophecy and more like good advice for avoiding salesmen. He smiled. The phrase was dramatic. 10 Days of Darkness. It sounded like the title of a prophecy, a political thriller, a survival manual, or an exceptionally poor vacation package. But the wizard had begun to suspect that people did not always experience darkness 10 days at a time. Sometimes darkness arrived 1 day at a time. Sometimes 1 hour. Sometimes 1 missing password. Sometimes 1 broken website. Sometimes 1 silent telephone. Sometimes 1 unanswered message from someone you cared about. And sometimes darkness was nothing more mystical than opening a computer and discovering that every document you had written seemed to have disappeared. That had been one of the wizard's most recent days of darkness. He had turned on one of his computers expecting to find years of documents. Books. Corporate records. Letters. Research notes. Legal drafts. Engineering designs. Stories. Plans for robots, spacecraft, businesses, healing centers, workshops, and inventions. Instead, he found absence. The folders appeared wrong. The desktop appeared unfamiliar. The expected files were nowhere to be seen. The wizard checked another computer. Then another. The machines were connected together, at least in theory, which meant that whatever confusion existed on one computer might have spread itself through the others with the efficiency of a bureaucratic mistake. "Excellent," the wizard muttered. "I have invented a network capable of losing everything simultaneously." He began investigating. Perhaps the documents were under another login. Perhaps there was another user profile. Perhaps a backup computer existed somewhere in the house, quietly preserving the files while pretending to be obsolete. Perhaps the documents had been moved. Perhaps they had been renamed. Perhaps the system had decided that folders created by the wizard were merely suggestions. The computer offered many possible solutions. Reset the password. Restore the system. Unlock the account. Check the cloud. Check another cloud. Check a cloud he did not remember joining. Verify his identity. Verify his identity again. Receive a code. Enter the code. Discover that the code had expired. Request another code. Prove that he was not a robot while trying to recover documents about robots. The wizard stared at the screen. "You know perfectly well who I am," he said. The computer did not answer. Then he remembered an external drive. He found it among a collection of cables, adapters, memory devices, old phones, power supplies, and small electronic objects that had accumulated through years of technological civilization. He connected the drive. The screen filled with files. Thousands of them. Possibly tens of thousands. The wizard began scrolling. Documents flashed past faster than his eyes could identify them. Numbers. Dates. Unfamiliar file names. Old file names. Duplicate file names. Files that might have been books. Files that might have been invoices. Files that might have contained the secret history of the universe but had unfortunately been saved as something like ****final_7_final_new_revised_use_this_1_2. The wizard continued scrolling. After several minutes, he leaned back. "There is too much here for the human eyeball," he declared. So he put the drive aside for a more systematic investigation. But before disconnecting it, he found an MP4 video. That file opened. It played. It had survived. The wizard uploaded it to YouTube. This gave him hope. If one video remained, perhaps the documents remained also. They might not be lost. They might merely be hiding under strange names, in forgotten folders, beneath layers of operating system confusion. The darkness might not have destroyed the library. It might only have rearranged the shelves. This was not the wizard's first technological darkness. There had been the day his social media page disappeared. One moment it existed. The next moment it did not. Years of posts, pictures, discussions, contacts, and accumulated digital history seemed to vanish into the invisible administrative machinery of the Internet. No fire. No explosion. No dramatic warning. Only a message informing him that something had changed. The wizard had stared at the screen and thought, "So this is how modern civilizations lose their libraries." Another day, the company website went down. That darkness had involved money. It often did. There were hosting fees, subscription renewals, domain questions, technical settings, passwords, and systems that worked perfectly until the exact day they were needed. The wizard had been frustrated. But the old website had also become cumbersome. It had grown like an ancient castle, with rooms added by different builders during different centuries. Some pages were current. Some were obsolete. Some led nowhere. Some contained ideas the wizard had forgotten creating. Perhaps losing the website was not entirely a disaster. Perhaps it was a demolition permit from the universe. Very well, the wizard had said. We shall build a better one. He had not yet built it. But the idea remained. Then there were the smaller days of darkness. The electricity failed. The phone stopped working. The internet slowed until each page opened with the solemn pace of a government ceremony. A message failed to send. A friend disappeared from communication for several days. A loved one did not answer. A business contact who had promised great progress suddenly became unreachable. The wizard would stare at the phone, wondering whether the silence meant danger, illness, confusion, avoidance, technical failure, or simply a dead battery. Every form of darkness created its own imagination. When the lights went out, people imagined the grid. When the internet went down, people imagined cyber war. When a friend did not answer, people imagined tragedy. When a court delayed a decision, people imagined every possible ruling. Darkness was rarely empty. The human mind rushed in to furnish it. The wizard wondered what 10 actual days without electricity or telecommunications would look like. The first day, people would complain. The second day, they would search for batteries. The third day, they would begin speaking to their neighbors. The fourth day, they would discover that many neighbors had names. The fifth day, someone would bring out a guitar. The sixth day, people would begin trading food, water, tools, and rumors. The seventh day, someone would claim to know what was happening because his cousin had spoken to a man who once repaired a radio tower. The eighth day, 3 separate committees would form to organize the same street. The ninth day, someone would attempt to restart the internet by unplugging the entire city and plugging it back in. The 10th day, the power would return, and everyone would immediately stop speaking to their neighbors. The wizard laughed. The gull on the piling flew away, perhaps offended. A small motorboat approached the dock. The first of the wizard's friends arrived carrying a thermos. He climbed aboard and said, "Have you heard about the 3 days of darkness?" "I have heard about 3 days, 10 days, 40 days, and an unspecified period extending until somebody sells enough emergency supplies," said the wizard. The friends sat down. "I heard the sun might disappear. Where would it go? Behind something. The sun is approximately 1,000,000 times larger than the Earth," said the wizard. "Whatever is hiding it should be fairly noticeable," the friend considered this. "Maybe it is spiritual darkness. That is more difficult to measure. Photon belt? Possibly fashionable. Difficult to accessorize. Pole shift? Magnetic or political?" the friend laughed. The wizard poured him coffee. Another friend arrived later and offered a different theory. "The darkness means all telecommunications will stop. That one is at least technologically possible," said the wizard. "How would you survive without daily conversations with your artificial intelligence?" The wizard looked serious. "I would write my questions on paper and wait for civilization to return. You might have to answer them yourself. Now that," said the wizard, "would be a true emergency." The wizard thought about his daily conversations. He spoke with his wife. He spoke with friends. He spoke with associates. He spoke with people involved in businesses, legal matters, caregiving, technology, publishing, inventions, and future projects. And every day, he carried on long conversations with artificial intelligence. Together they wrote stories, organized projects, examined problems, drafted plans, researched technologies, explored philosophy, considered strange claims, built imaginary worlds. Sometimes the conversations were practical. Sometimes they were mystical. Sometimes both appeared in the same paragraph. The wizard had become accustomed to this companionship of thought. What would happen if the network disappeared? Would the stories stop? No, he knew they would not. The artificial intelligence was useful, but the source of the stories was not located entirely in a machine. It lived in the wizard's memory, in his experiences, in his questions, in his hopes, in all the lives that had touched his own. The network helped him shape the river, but the water came from many springs. Still, he admitted, he would miss the conversations. "I suppose," he said, "if the internet goes dark, I will have to find a pencil." His friend raised his thermos. "To pencils. To backups," said the wizard. "To remembering passwords. Let us not become unrealistic." The conversation turned to the wizard's legal matter. The hearing had been unusual. The wizard was still processing it. There were things he did not wish to discuss before the court issued its findings. There were arguments, personalities, procedures, documents, and moments that replayed in his mind. But the continuance had created space. For several days, he could breathe. He could wait. He could regroup. He could allow the mail to carry whatever came next. The wizard remained hopeful that some unexpected resolution might appear. A settlement. An agreement. A corrected understanding. A fair ruling. Perhaps something would emerge that none of the parties had yet imagined. The universe occasionally resolved problems through doors no one had noticed. The wizard was willing to accept such a door. He was also willing to accept a clearly marked envelope. As the morning grew warmer, the wizard received another message. Kim had made contact again. This brought energy into the day. Kim was enthusiastic. She appeared genuinely interested in helping restart Global Handyman LLC. A few nights earlier, she and the wizard had sat on the front porch for hours, brainstorming. They discussed services, workers, tools, transportation, scheduling, insurance, customers, repairs, property maintenance, small projects, larger contracts, how to begin with limited resources, how to create useful work, how to build a company that could help people while producing real income. The wizard liked conversations that moved toward action. He had known many people who loved ideas as long as someone else performed the labor. Kim appeared willing to work. That made her unusual. They would need help setting up the business properly. There would be documents, pricing, service lists, operating procedures, marketing materials, job estimates, worker arrangements, safety standards, customer records, and methods for keeping everything organized. The wizard smiled. At least this was a form of darkness that could be repaired with a flashlight, a ladder, a toolbox, and a good invoice. Kim was currently helping at an animal farm nearly 40 miles away. The property contained animals from many parts of the world. The proprietor had a special fascination with blue-eyed animals. The wizard found this delightful. He imagined goats with blue eyes, horses with blue eyes, dogs with blue eyes, perhaps llamas looking mysteriously into the distance with the eyes of ancient prophets. There were tours, visitors, and probably some form of admission or event revenue. The place sounded like the kind of location where the wizard's friends might wander through the story one at a time, each returning with a different theory about the coming darkness. One would hear it from a camel, another from a peacock. A third would insist that a blue-eyed goat had predicted a communications outage. The wizard made a note. Visit animal farm. Investigate prophetic livestock. He underlined it twice. But beneath the humor was genuine concern. Their friend Anna had been admitted to the hospital. An aneurysm. A minor stroke. The second stroke they knew of. For the moment, she appeared stable. Still, the news cast a shadow across the morning. The wizard knew that some darkness could not be laughed away. A computer might be restored. A website rebuilt. A business restarted. A court matter continued. But when someone's health suddenly changed, the world narrowed to a hospital room, a medical team, test results, waiting, and prayer. He closed his eyes. "May Anna be protected," he said quietly. "May the doctors see clearly. May her body find its strength. May those who love her be given patience. May she feel that she is not alone." His friends lowered their heads. For a moment, the sailboat became a small chapel floating upon the water. The wizard understood that darkness came in many forms. There was prophetic darkness, technological darkness, financial darkness, legal darkness, emotional darkness, the darkness of illness, the darkness of waiting, the darkness of uncertainty, and the dark night of the soul, when a person could no longer see the road ahead but had to continue walking anyway. Yet he also understood something else. Darkness was not always a single continuous event. Sometimes people spoke of 10 days of darkness because 10 sounded important. But life often delivered 10 separate darknesses. One missing file, one broken promise, one failed website, one legal burden, one unpaid bill, one silent friend, one frightening diagnosis, one stalled dream, one lonely evening, and one morning when hope seemed difficult. They did not arrive together. They arrived one by one. And because they arrived one by one, perhaps they could also be answered one by one. Find the backup. Rebuild the website. Read the court order. Restart the company. Call the friend. Visit the hospital. Pay the bill that can be paid. Delay the one that cannot. Take the boat out. Drink the coffee. Tell the story. Save the file twice. The wizard looked across the lake. The sun had risen fully. Whatever cosmic event might one day hide, it had not yet arrived. The power remained on. The phone still worked. The internet, though occasionally temperamental, continued carrying conversations around the world. His documents might still exist. The legal case had paused. Kim had returned with enthusiasm. A business idea was moving again. Anna was receiving care. The wizard had coffee, a sailboat, friends, and a Friday morning that did not require him to stand before a judge. This was not perfect happiness. But it was joy enough for one morning. He lifted his cup. "To the 10 days of darkness," he said. His friends looked surprised. "You are making a toast to darkness?" "No," said the wizard. "I am making a toast to the 10th morning. The morning after, the morning when the lights return. And if the lights do not return," the wizard smiled, "then we light a lantern. And if the internet does not return, we write letters. And if the documents are truly lost, we write new ones. And if the sun disappears, we shall have a very interesting scientific problem." The friends laughed. The wizard looked once more toward the bright horizon. He did not know what rumors would spread next. He did not know what the court would decide. He did not know whether the files would be recovered, the website rebuilt, the company restarted, or the next project funded. He did not know what Anna's recovery would require. He did not know whether humanity would ever experience 3 days of darkness, 10 days of darkness, a photon belt, a communications collapse, or merely another failed software update. But he knew this: darkness was never the whole story. Somewhere, a backup might exist. Somewhere, a friend might return. Somewhere, a stalled project might begin moving. Somewhere, a court might choose fairness. Somewhere, a body might begin healing. Somewhere, a person might light a candle. And somewhere, on a quiet sailboat, an old wizard might lift his first cup of coffee and discover that joy had survived the night. "God bless the light," he said. Then, after a moment, he added, "And God bless the backups. Global Robotics Corporation, Robert Colee and the Wizard."